What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Jump to Start Racing podcast. It's Race Week! We're here, baby.
Let's go.
My name is Wellington. I'm here with two of my closest friends. Yhancy, say hello.
Hi.
Oh, yeah,
Ruben? That's not a Race Week enthusiasm, by the way.
It's not.
Okay, Ruben?
What's going on, guys?
Today's up.
I feel like I'm being scolded.
You are.
Well, nobody goes to me first, so I would expect that.
Anyway, today we'll talk about a little bit of news.
Some kind of way, Ruben?
Yeah.
We'll talk about a little bit of news today, and we'll get into the Emilia Romagna. You got to say it like lasagna. Grand Prix. We'll do a little bit of preview. Do some trivia. Let's jump right into it. Sprint races. We're all set to. It seems like we have a green light to just go ahead and get started with our sprint races. That's the three things that, what is it? Silverstone, Monza, and Imola Silverstone, Monza, and Interlagos have in common that they are
sprint races.
They're potentially going to be sprint races.
But that is not why I asked you that question.
I read that earlier as well.
But that's not why I asked you that question.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the sprint races first. So, Yhancy, do you care to break down some of that news for us, please?
Yes. So, the issue with the sprint races was more financially. This is why they couldn't agree on it. They wanted to do it, but they were arguing about the kind of money that they get.
Why did they need more money?
Because just in case something happens, obviously there's a lot of cost to run these cars, especially if you add another race or event to it. So there's costs associated with that. But on top of that, there's also costs associated if something happens, like if somebody crashes their car or you have an incident during the race where a car hits another car and damage is done. They have to compensate to replace those parts and so on and so on. So the original, what teams wanted, or the bigger teams wanted originally, was an extra $1 million each team.
You did that the wrong way, Doug.
What?
1 million.
Well, sorry.
$1 million.
$1 million.
Pinky up to the.
Yeah, $1 million to compensate for those costs. A lot of the teams, a lot of the smaller teams, obviously said that was too much money. I mean, that was too little. Or it was too much. I think it was too much money. So, what they did was that instead of, it was F1 that's giving the money to the teams. I just want to clarify that. So they said that it was too little. The smaller teams said that was too little money to compensate, especially when they have to, go through extra events. So what the compromise was that they would get an extra $500,000 and they would raise the cost cap by another $500,000 to get to that $1 million figure. Now the other caveat is if there is too much damage, let's say there's a big crash and the expenses are way more than that, then they have a leeway to change that cost cap to whatever that team needs, so nobody is disadvantaged in any way.
So I want to understand one thing. You're saying they're going to provide funds to the team. Is that per race?
No, that's just for those three specific races. So it's a pool of money, $500,000 for any extra cost that can incur during those three sprint races.
So
is it per race?
No, it's not per race. It's just a pool of money for those three.
So it's $500,000 to cover the cost of all three races.
Yes.
Okay.
Plus,
doesn't seem like a lot.
Plus the raising of the cost cap. I have to say that slowly because I always get confused. Cast cop. You see, you messed me up. The cost cap. So they have more money to work with within their own budget.
I thought it was $1.5 million because $500,000 for all three races. I had to reread what you were talking.
Yeah, no, but it's for all three races.
So it's only $500,000 together. Well, $1 million essentially altogether.
$1 million essentially altogether. Yes.
$500,000 given by F1, and also the cost cap has been raised by $500,000.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. So my opinion from early changes. So earlier would say, "Oh, this is like a major change." No, it's not that much money. It's not gonna.
So this is replacing. It's a 100-kilometer race. Is it replacing qualifying?
No, qualifying will happen on Saturday. No, I'm sorry, on Friday instead of Saturday. So there'll be practice 1, then a qualifying session, which will set the grid for the sprint race.
There you go.
And then the results of the sprint race will set the grid
for the Sunday race.
The Sunday race.
And points are awarded
Points are awarded. I don't think they've finalized it, but what they were talking about was they got half the points, and it's only the top 8 teams, I believe.
So top 10?
Yeah. Top 8, not top 10. I think it's top 8.
Complicated. It has to be complicated. Everything has to be looked at, every angle, blah, 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 blah. But
yeah, there's still some things that have to be ironed out, but it seems like that's what they're moving towards, and it will be at Monza, Silverstone,
Monza, and
Interlagos.
Sorry, you're right.
So, but that's not what they have in common.
What do they have in common? I'm sorry. You asked that question. He asked, Yhancy, before we started recording, asked the question, what do Silverstone, Monza, and Interlagos have in common?
So think about why is it that they're going to do it at these venues?
Those are nice, big overtake style tracks.
Boom.
Yeah.
So if this is going to work, obviously you're going to have the opportunities to overtake and make it fun for the fans. Because at the end of the day, this is just so they can shake up the grid. Even though we've talked about this before, it doesn't really seem like it will shake up the grid, just the way the format is. It could, but not really. Because the top teams are still going to... There's no reverse grid, so it's still... It's going to be the top teams, going through and getting the points, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what you do have a chance is some teams moving up the field if you can tune the car differently or set up the car differently. So you have a chance of overtaking so that you're not limited like a Monaco or Albert Park before where you couldn't really overtake.
So, but there are certain teams, and I'm going to use the name from last year, like Racing Point, for example, they were tuned much better for the race pace than they were for qualifying pace. So I feel like that's going to hurt teams that are set up in that direction, we'll call it. But should be. So the primary setup for Racing Point from last year was so that they can do well over the course of the race, right? Mm-hmm. So when you have a guy, for example, Sergio Perez, who's great on his tires, who maximized the time on the track during the race and maybe not so much over qualifying over one lap, you focus more on reliability. You don't focus so much on let me get the most out of that car for my one lap section or for my 100 kilometers, whatever. You're focused more on the length of
this race.
Yeah, exactly. So
as opposed to a Mercedes, which is usually tuned to do better in qualifying so they can be ahead.
And being clean
air. There are other teams that they know that they can't qualify high up, so they set up their car so they can have a better race pace, meaning better times overall over a certain amount of laps instead of just that one lap pace.
Yeah, so I'm excited for it. I'm just very nervous in the sense that there are precious few tracks, like Yhancy alluded to, that would allow for good sprint races, not just this year, but going forward. So they've made some changes to some of the aero coming into this year that has already played a part in last week's race or 2 weeks ago's race to allow for better overtaking, better following, etc. We haven't seen how it plays out over the course of the full season. So I'm concerned on, is it actually better? Did they break a couple of things? And the sprint races, I don't know. To me, we'll see how it shakes out.
But I think this is why they're doing it. It's a trial, basically. I mean, if it works, if this format works, you can see it expanding. But the only reason they have tried things before to change up the weekend format, but it hasn't been as extensive as it is now. They're doing it at 3 races. They're going to have the data of 3 races and the results of 3 races to see if it works or not. Usually, when F1 makes a change, usually they make that change for one season, or let's say the 2017 rules. Let's go with the aero rules where they made the cars wider, longer, the wheels bigger. They wanted to make these cars faster, but it just wound up, they're faster per lap, but you can't overtake.
Yeah.
So this is a way for F1 or FOM to get data to see if this format works so they can expand. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it does, there's no guessing game as if it was going to work or not. Because all we've been doing in the past is dealing with hypotheticals and saying, "Oh, this is gonna work," or "This might not work," or we don't really know if it's gonna work or not because we haven't tried it we haven't tried it physically.
Yeah.
And the only way to get actual physical, tangible results is to actually try it, especially, and you can't really do that in this age because obviously there's cost involved in running a car. Most of the testing is not even done in the car like it used to be before. It's done through CFD, computer fluid dynamics, which is basically, and what teams are doing now in testing is making sure that their data in the computer matches the on-track data, because the on-track data is so precious because it's very limited.
Right. So what's been a big factor, and specifically in Bahrain, the last couple of times they've been there, crosswinds, right? So when you talk about the computational fluid dynamics and all that data, you're in a vacuum. So everything is perfect, ideal, like, okay, everything is going to work and it's going to be nice, but then you don't have a crosswind. You don't have cars that you're following or cars
that are right next
to you behind, like it's
or a broken wing or something, it's a trial, but it's something that I'm happy that they're doing it. Again, this is my opinion. I don't think it's going to shake up the field, but we never know until we try it. And that's what we got to do. We got to try it.
No, that's the best way to try it. They try it in 3 tracks. They're not doing it's not like a new rule that you're putting across the board. Like, no, but we haven't tried it. No.
Right. And at tracks that promote overtaking.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, we want to be entertained. And this is what it's going to do. Are you not entertained?
Guys, I got to tell you, I was so hyped up because of race week. I forgot to even do my normal.
The beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Sorry. Guys, make sure to follow us across. Well, hit the subscribe button. Make sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I'm going to bring up the graphic here. Hold on. Right? Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart Radio, TuneIn, Stitcher. Obviously, we're on YouTube. Hello. Make sure to follow us at Jump to Start F1 on Twitter and at Jump to Start F1 on Instagram. It's the same handle. We're very active. Want to make sure you guys say hi, drop a comment or a like or subscribe or follow us. And make sure, obviously, to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm.
Well, so before you proceed,
I think he stumbled at the beginning, right?
Well, I think he did good.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Sorry, Wellington.
Yes. All podcast platforms. You guys are screwing me up here. We're on all podcast platforms. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, drop a review, etc. So, sorry. We were all juiced up with that beginning. Okay, so that's sprint races. I wanted to talk about, actually, let's jump forward because we did kind of touch base on something that's been happening in Australia. The Albert Park track, which has, except for this year and last year, has traditionally been, in modern F1 times, the start of the F1 season. They're making some changes.
Yes.
So what it seems to me is that they're widening out a lot of a number of corners. Actually, going through the track, it's turn 1 into 2, turn 3 is being widened out, turn 6 and 7 being widened out, turns 8, 9, 10 they're eliminating a chicane, and turn 13 going into 14 widening it out as well, and 15 going into 16. That's a lot of
work,
additional space, additional work. They're supposed to be dropping the qualifying time by 5 seconds over the course of the lap, or of a fast lap. Yeah. So,
and adding like another DRS on too.
And adding another DRS. So to me, all this says is that we need to make accommodations for these new cars. We need to make sure that the tracks work, because Albert Park in particular, it was the start of the race, the start of the season, and everyone's hyped up for it. Nobody really cares. Oh my God, Formula One is back. Nobody cares that it's been a boring race the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's only exciting if you're. It's only exciting if you're. It's exciting for 2 reasons. One is because of the hype. Obviously, we haven't had racing for 2-3 months. We want to see cars on track. Everybody's going to be watching. But second, it's only fun for those strategy heads, the ones that pay attention to strategy and overcuts and undercuts.
Are you talking crap?
No, I'm just saying. God, these guys are so sensitive. No, I'm just saying that those who enjoy it, it's only fun for them, but it's not fun for the casual fan that tunes into the beginning of the season just because they watch Drive to Survive and they want to watch that dramatized action. You're not going to get the full action, but if you can get some overtakes and an exciting race, I think that'll keep people watching, especially the first race of the season.
Meaning more people are going to watch and more people are going to pay attention now. I think the event itself, the way they bring it up, obviously, like as I said, we're hyped because it's the first race, but all the other things they have, like they had the drivers arrive by boat one time, and they were getting off the boat with all the team,
yes,
like, all the spectacle like that. I would like to see that one day. All of that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But imagine that accompanied by great racing.
Yeah.
So Daniel Ricciardo was actually a consultant for
yes, sir.
for the track, for the track layout as
Daniel took
as the I guess what is it the only Australian driver right now, and obviously he's very successful in his own right. But to quote the story, he said, "Widening some of the apexes, creating more of a straight in some places to allow for an opportunity for more slip streaming. That was the priority. I'm very confident that it's going to be good. Every circuit is a challenge, but Albert Park is pretty fast, which only adds to that. There's a lot of fourth and fifth gear corners, and it's pretty narrow at certain parts. It's been somewhere that's been hard to overtake because of that width and because it's so fast." So it just ties into what we were talking about before, where, in a perfect world, these cars, they do their thing, but they end up getting stuck in processions behind other cars, next to other cars.
It's a parade.
This will hopefully help that track in particular. So I think that that's a great thing. What other tracks would you like to see improved? I'm going to start by, I think that they should just nuke from space Barcelona. Just get rid of it. Restart the whole thing.
They don't have to. Because all they got to do is change one thing in Barcelona.
What
to
are
make it better.
What are they got to change?
Take out the damn last chicane.
Yeah.
That's all they got to do.
Better.
Because that track is not bad. If you look at the layout of that track, it's very flowy.
It is.
It's wide enough. They took out the chicane and then it slows the cars down. So going into turn one, you can't get any overtake because the cars are not close enough. That's all they got to do. Barcelona's a great city. Long F1 history.
Yeah.
Why?
Russia should get some type of treatment. It's too many 90s. That it is like the typical Herman Tilke special. Too many 90s there.
Yeah, but and what's crazy and what's crazy is that Herman Tilke does have a few good tracks. Turkey.
Last year was how many tracks can you design without having some of the same?
And I don't get it.
It's still racing.
Coda's great.
Beautiful track.
Yeah. But I think Coda promotes good racing also. It's wide enough. I think the only issues that they had with Coda past few years is that it's been very bumpy.
Yeah.
Which is normal for an American track like an IndyCar, but not normal for F1 standards.
Now, another thing is, with this new track in Albert Park, would I crash to Wellington again? Like
in the video game.
Yeah, you would at a faster rate too, because you'll be going faster.
You go. That's even better. That promotes better racing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you'll split its car in half in the virtual world.
I'm still bitter. Still bitter. Okay. Any further talk about Albert Park? It's just going to be a wait and see, obviously, until whenever they go back there and actually have.
Well, they're going to go back there at the end of the season. This season.
Yeah, they're thinking about.
We will see it.
At
the end of the season, the changes will be made by November, and that's when we're getting the Australian Grand Prix.
Can't wait.
If those changes will be made like in a track in the US, it will take 2 years to them. How slow we move in construction.
That's a whole other topic.
No, I'm just saying it's taking a couple of months to do. Here will probably be still in blueprints. Go ahead, Wellington.
Please call 911.
Wellington just got stabbed.
No, because I'm in construction, so it's like, why could this guy possibly say this? It's the owner. They keep changing their mind.
He's like that because he knows it's true.
I just been shot through my heart. Let's keep with the track, I guess, since we're talking about it. Miami back in the picture. I'm ready. Where's Will Smith? Come to the beat. Whatever. The song.
Welcome to Miami.
Bienvenido.
Yeah. I don't even know this.
So is that how it goes?
Yeah. Bienvenido a Miami.
Wow. All right. So this is being recorded on April 11th. There's supposed to be a vote in the city council or the mayor, what's his name? Rodney Harris is pushing another vote. He was opposed to it. He was opposed to it as a councilman, but now as the mayor, he wants to have the race itself. There's a vote coming up this coming Wednesday to see if it would be allowed. It's really a lot of, I guess, not in my backyard NIMBYism just prevented it from happening in the first place. It'll feature a track that goes around Dolphin Stadium. So Stephen Ross, the billionaire developer that's the owner of the team, is one of the main proponents of pushing it along. I want to go to Miami, guys.
Yes. We've been wanting to go to Miami.
I want to go to Miami. Even the track layout even changed to go around the areas that people were complaining that they didn't want it.
It was like this,
because they wanted it in the middle, like downtown. So they moved that. Now they're moving it into Miami Gardens, which is a city right outside of Miami, that's where the Hard Rock Stadium is. They still call it the Hard Rock Stadium? They always change it down.
Dolphin Stadium.
Stuff, whatever. But anyways, where the Miami Dolphins play. Bienvenido.
Yeah, for example, I think the new changes to avoid 199th Street. I think it's like a major
199th Street, yeah. So there's no traffic. You know, there's a bunch of changes. Let's get it approved. There's always been the desire's there.
They want to make it happen.
This seems like one of those changes where because of COVID, government is rethinking things.
Yeah.
Just like they're legalizing marijuana here in New York
money.
because they need money. Yeah.
We need money.
So the economic impact will probably work very well. You know, out of country tourists or international tourism, the economic impact, you get more jobs, et cetera, et cetera. It'll all work out well. People need money. Cash is king. And obviously, we, as American Formula One fans, would definitely like a trip to Miami.
This needs to happen already. That's it. There's so much talk about it and stuff like that. Come on, just make it happen so we could go to Miami.
And with the success of Drive to Survive,
yes,
you have more casual fans joining the fray. And if you get a race in one of the most popular cities, one of the most popular vacation spots in the United States.
In the world. People come from all over the world to go to Miami.
Yes.
Which is crazy to me.
Why? Why wouldn't you do that? I think it'll be great.
So I got another one. Look at the picture again. By them changing the tracks, so they're not going to be by the marina like they originally wanted to be and stuff like that?
No. That's been changed.
That's been changed forever. Right?
And that track layout kind of sucked. Actually.
Oh, because it was like two big straights.
Yeah, it was two big straight. It looked like almost like Vietnam, like the way they were proposing Vietnam. I wonder if we were ever going to get that anyways.
No, that ain't
probably not.
Yeah. So, but the track looks like it's a lot of fun, to be honest with you. The
new track layout.
The new track layout. So we'll see. Yeah, there's a lot of cool spots there.
We're going.
You got the S's. You got like a turkey turn 8 there.
So, all right, I have a question for you guys, right? So, potential new track in Miami, right? We have these tracks coming back. We want to put in, obviously, Portugal, Imola. We want to make sure that they're mainstays. Turkey was awesome. What tracks are not going to be on the calendar any longer? Or are we just going to keep extending the schedule?
Jeez.
Well, they think that you can do a max 25 races. That's what's in the agreement, in the Concord agreement. And that is what Liberty has wanted to do since they took over. Can they do it? I don't know. We're having 23 races this year.
And we just had we would have had another race either this week or last week with China, but that was pushed off. Right.
I mean, there's some tracks you can get rid of. I mean, you don't got to change Barcelona. You can just get rid of it.
Damn. What else?
I don't know, man. You're not gonna get rid of Monaco, even though I like the Monaco Grand Prix. No. You're not gonna get great racing, but you're not gonna get rid of that one.
You can't get rid of Monaco.
You could get rid of Russia.
That's money.
Yeah,
there's money there.
I mean, there's always reasons.
They added Saudi Arabia. That's going to be there for another 5 years. That's going to be there
for at least another 5-10 years. You also have. They also added the Netherlands.
Zandvoort. They brought it back.
Yeah. So
I don't know, man. It's just we'll see what happens as far.
Or maybe they do it as what they were talking about before, where they have two or three races that are just
alternating.
That alternate, yeah. Just because we don't have Hockenheim anymore.
And yeah, there's always talks of another German Grand Prix coming back.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another one in the battlefield to get on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we lose quota?
No.
We get in Miami. No, but I'm saying
Why? Why would no? Because
it has to do with money. So
yeah,
the
but
tracks that are not performing, they're going out.
yeah, but Coda's been doing well the past few years before obviously all this stuff happens. And the key is, I think the goal was to grow Formula One here in the States.
Yeah.
But the only way you would do that is if you could peak enough interest for two races, and you add more races to this side of the world, which is a big market for Formula One.
And it's growing.
Growing market.
Yeah, it's a growing market.
Which you want to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so those are our thoughts there. One story that we kind of talked about, it came out last week, but we talked about it kind of on the side in our group chat here. Red Bull's team principal, team owner, whatever you want to call him, Helmut Marko, is saying that the differential issue that Max Verstappen was complaining about during the start of the race at Bahrain cost him 0.3 of a second per lap. 0.3 of a second.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying that it's something that Red Bull as a team struggled with all weekend, and that it could have made a difference as far as their results at the end of the weekend. Ruben, what do you think of Dr. Marco's claims?
We'll see next weekend if the freaking pace is back up, because I don't think so. I think Paris showed that he made a lot of time. Is that just an excuse for not just being able to pass Ham? Definitely, I don't know. It's weird that he said that. Where I don't know. Should I just come out right after the race with it?
Well, I think it's true.
Go ahead.
I think it's true. All right, so let's not even look at the first race. Let's look at last year when Max was able to get ahead of the Mercedes.
Mm-hmm. He will pull away.
Yeah. The issue that we have now in F1 is when a car gets ahead, they're able to pull these crazy gaps in front.
Because they got the clean air.
Yeah, because they have the clean air. And then the other issue is that when a car is right behind the car, they can't really follow well, which is what they're trying to mitigate
with the changes
upcoming next year. So when Max could get ahead of the Mercedes, he would pull away. There's not much of a difference in the arrow. Obviously, the floor makes a difference, and the floor changes impacted more Mercedes than Red Bull. So if it impacted more Mercedes, that means that the Mercedes could be falling back, and Red Bull, on top of that, they have an advantage with the floor, and on top of that, they have an advantage that they're ahead. They were ahead. They could have pulled in further out. Now, Max was complaining since the beginning of the race, and it was a complaint that they had throughout the entire weekend, that they had an issue with the differential, meaning the way the wheel rotates around the corner. They couldn't get that right. So it could slow you down. And if you notice, for example, for any new fans coming in, if you ever see an onboard camera, you see the driver, they're messing around with the buttons, which is amazing to me that they can do that at 180 miles per hour. Usually what they're changing on top are the differential settings, meaning that the wheel spin that they get throughout the corners. They change it before, they change it during, and they change it after the corner, depending on what corner is coming up. So,
and you add on top of that also the mode that you want the car to be in.
So
there are 7 type of.
So all of this stuff.
Drink coffee while driving, I spill it all over me.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So all of this stuff is happening within milliseconds, and if you have any little thing go wrong, yes, it could affect your lap time. And if the fact that Max was ahead for most of that race and he couldn't pull away, which he's supposed to pull away because obviously he has a better package, and you can't, and those cars can't really follow too well. And you look at the cars before, and Mercedes has done this the past 7 years. They get ahead, they're meant to qualify ahead, they get ahead and they just fly away. Right? And then anytime they get behind the car, they can't. It's hard for them to get past. You have to be an exceptional driver, a la Lewis Hamilton. And you look at Bottas, who can't overtake because he's having trouble with it. But Hamilton is just a way better driver. I believe it. I think that's true. I think that does make a difference.
What do you think, Wells?
What I don't know. I think he's playing up exactly what happened. I'm going to read the quote here. In Sector 1, we lost drastically up to 0.3 per lap. The same was the case with Perez, by the way. Not only was there less grip, but the rear wheels were spinning and the tires were getting hot. So it's like, okay, yeah, we had this problem. And not only did it happen with Max, it happened with Sergio Perez. And we were the best car, but then all this other stuff happened. Yeah, it's like, I would have been, king of the world if all this crap didn't happen. It's like, dude, come on. Like, if you're really the best car on track, prove it. No matter, you say you have the best car on track. You say you currently have the best driver on the track. Prove it. And then don't just be like, oh yeah, and Paris too. Like, it affected us in all aspects. No, dude. Like,
so what you're saying is just an excuse instead of actual.
I think it's just an excuse.
It's an excuse and not a reason.
It's an excuse and not a reason. And it's like, oh, it's like Ruben said, it was way after the fact that this came out. It didn't come out immediately after the race. It wasn't like a few days, but beyond that, as you mentioned, there were some aerodynamic changes to the cars. Yes, maybe he could have gotten a bit of a gap with Hamilton, but maybe that the design intent of the changes to the aero prevented such a huge gap and prevented the dirty air from being such a major problem for a car following. But here's where I will digress and maybe cede a little bit. Okay, he lost some time due to the differential. Whatever the amount of time, it couldn't have been 0.3 of that. That's ridiculous.
Maybe
right?
That's a bit of an exaggeration. I agree with you there.
Right?
It's
That's
a bit of an
kinda crazy.
exaggeration, but he did lose time.
But beyond that, so add those two things together, right? The differential issue and then Hamilton 29 times exceeding the track limits. What does that mean for us going forward? That means that Red Bull's car is extremely, extremely competitive and that hopefully if their reliability is on point, if Max's head stays on straight, if Sergio Perez's head stays on straight, that will be okay. Also, if Christian Horner's head stays on straight and they make the right strategy calls, we'll have a great season. But they're up against a machine in Mercedes that has done it right and continues to do it right and puts pressure on other teams to stay crap like this. Like, oh, we're the best car, but all this stuff happened that
so what do
you didn't know about.
So what do you think? I think it was Hamilton or Toto
I think
Wolff
Mercedes doesn't show no.
They said that in order for them, and this is coming from the Mercedes team, in order for them, and I saw this headline, in order for them to beat Red Bull, they have to be near perfect. That's how much they think. Is this all hogwash on Mercedes then?
We've heard this, I feel like, every year from Toto Wolff. We've heard this every single year. So
he said the perfect one to play.
Yeah, to play down his abilities. So It's like Eeyore and freaking Winnie the Pooh.
What is that?
Oh man! Oh, woe is me, the cloud over my head, and then they overproduced. They did not have the best. They did not have the best car on track in what was that 2018 or 19 when Ferrari just was so good with their what we call the cheating engine.
I think you're giving Ferrari too much credit that year, but whatever. Go ahead.
Vettel was ahead in the standings.
You're right, but the team is not. I mean, I think that championship was won on the strength of the team, and obviously the Ferrari team is not as strong as the Mercedes team. Doesn't matter if you have a good car.
That's what I think Mercedes does have. Honestly, they have the team, like you were saying,
they have the capability.
I disagree, dude. They were so competitive up until Vettel spun out in what was it? No, Hockenheim, in his own home race, and then it was over. Up until that point, it was nip and tuck the whole way.
Yeah, and the team collapsed after that.
But that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes is not going to collapse. No matter how good that Red Bull car is, they have to continue. They can't pull the Ferrari from that year. They can't be mentally weak. They have to continue to strive to do better. Whereas Mercedes, they won't fold in on themselves. They'll just continue to. It's like the T1000 running after the car when Terminator's trying to escape, and he's like running. Yeah, right. And then like the arms turn into the hooks.
Yes. That's a great movie scene and a great Simpsons scene.
Unless,
on top of that.
unless Drive to Survive is recording Mercedes. That's when everything goes.
Yeah,
they're not allowing them back in.
At their home race.
At their home race. But yeah, listen. It remains to be seen because there's only one race. From what it looks like, and again, it's only one race. It seems that throughout the hybrid era, Red Bull is poised to give Mercedes their best challenge. Previously, it was Ferrari in 2017 and 2018.
After one race.
But this is only one race.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that Red Bull is poised to give Mercedes their best challenge to the championship. But it's like Wellington said, you got to stay poised, you got to stay level-headed, and you got to execute.
That's the thing that they have to do. The most.
Excellence of execution, though.
Execute. I think Mercedes does that flawlessly.
It
happens,
not just Mercedes, but also Hamilton.
If you're gonna beat excellence of execution, if you're gonna beat Mercedes, you have to be the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. That's the kind of execution that you have to have in order to beat this team.
Did you say that because of WrestleMania this weekend?
Actually, yeah, I'm Bunny.
Yeah. You guys know I'm a wrestler. Come on.
Yeah.
That's why I went, woo!
Right. So there's a couple. Obviously, the arrow change. Now, what is it? The low rate concept.
Yes, lower versus high rake.
Now, yeah, so many things are now stacked against Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna see how good of a team that is.
Yes,
I can't wait. This is gonna be a good season.
That's the hype.
And lastly, as far as news goes,
Are they going to crumble?
No, I don't think that they will. Unfortunately. Lastly, as far as news goes, the Hulkenback is completely official now, as Nico Hulkenberg has signed a deal with Aston Martin to be the reserve driver behind Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll.
Should throw a clap for that, bro.
Yeah.
I got to learn the buttons too.
That's your boy, bro. You should be more excited about it.
No, I am. I mean, he was the reserve driver last year, and he showed that he could be the.
Technically, he wasn't.
He wasn't until they needed him.
So he only got signed when they needed him.
Yeah, he was eating tres leche. He was good.
Yep.
Whatever.
Or he was watching us.
He
couldn't watch us.
No, he was watching us.
But again, last year he was eating tres leches.
Yes.
I think a week and a half ago, he was like, working like in a farm, and he's back to F1. Look at that, how your life could
He
change.
was working in a farm too?
Yeah, he posted like a picture of himself on his Instagram, like in a tractor, like how do you call them when you're trying to work dirt on the farm, that you're trying to move it
Plow?
around? It's not a plow.
You're tilling it.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a tiller.
A tiller.
Yeah, it's but the ones like that creates the path for the water and all that stuff. Whatever. He was
Clearly, Ruben went to agricultural school and didn't
hell no.
pass.
Okay, my bad.
Oh man. So look, does this really? How often do you see Formula One reserve drivers get on track? Last year aside, obviously due to the conditions that we had with the whole COVID thing.
Well, COVID is still around, so I think it could be a good chance. I mean, you've had various F1 drivers get the virus. Either during the season, you had Perez and Hamilton last year and Stroll last year. Then you had Norris and Leclerc and
during the off season.
During the off season. So it's a possibility. You're moving around. You have new variants, and so it's possible. And I think he's going to be the reserve driver not only for Mercedes but also for Aston Martin also. So they have one driver who's experienced that can knows.
So
those cars.
they won't use Russell if anything?
No, I don't think so. I think they'll probably just use Hulkenberg. You imagine Hulkenberg gets in a Mercedes?
Dude.
Whoa.
So what do you guys think? Obviously,
Podium!
Yeah. The conspiracy,
Whoa!
the conspiracy theories are going for me.
Okay, both us.
Do you think that this is kind of like a foot in the door for potentially next year if Sebastian Vettel continues to disappoint?
Wow.
that's a
I
tough
think
one.
that's a bit too early to tell.
And especially since Aston Martin is banking so much.
If
so
you're asking
heavily.
that question, do you have any doubts in Seb will not come through this year?
It's the I don't know. Like you said, it's too early to tell, but it's the type of car that he's not a fan of driving. The setup, it's got we'll call it a loose rear end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
But
We can call it that.
yeah, we'll see. He'll get his head on straight because hopefully he'll get his head on straight because it's a different team, different mentality, different everything. Hopefully everything comes around.
What do you
for
think,
him.
Ruben? You think he can take over Vettel's spot?
Hell no. I mean, maybe, hopefully last week was an eye-opener for Battle. Maybe, hey, my head's still not 100% in the game. I need to get it back in the game because if not, I'm going to get canned. That's it. And I got this guy, that was last year, eating the leches off his couch, came in, was pushing the car, through the car. You could say maybe Paris was pushing it to the hard. Then we get,
Mm-hmm.
he's back to my, in my shadow now. And he has shown that he's a great driver. He was driving Attila last week. He's back in F1, so I could go back to go do an intern in a farm again.
I hope Vettel comes through, man.
I hope so too.
Okay. Let's jump into our race preview for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix out in Imola, just like last year. So this is a bit of a weird setup because it was so much later in the season last year than where it is now. Last
With the
year,
weather too, right?
yeah, exactly. So last year it was in November that the race happened, and this year it's happening now in April. So
Spring.
weather-wise, it's going to be interesting. Yeah. The cars aren't as developed. So like last year, Daniel Ricciardo, that's when he got a podium. But that's because the Renault was, over the course of the year, developed so much that, they were able to show out. So now it's going to be more of a show of where the cars still currently are at the beginning of the season, whereas it was last year was more a development thing. So
different challenges.
Different challenges. So let's jump into our good trivia. Our dear friend Ruben is going to lead us with a couple of questions. Yhancy, I'm going to say, is leading 2-0 on me over the...
Should have been 3.
No. It should have been 2. I'm giving you the 1.
Oh, you're giving me the 1.
I'm giving you the 1, so you're up
that's right.
2-0.
Yeah,
Why did you get to decide that?
Because
I'm the one with the trivia. I should have decided that. And I said no.
Because you're a hater.
I know.
Okay. So, trivia time. Let's do it.
Ready?
Let's go.
Okay, so let's go with what I believe an easy question. How many times has this track hosted the Italian Grand Prix? That has been named the Italian Grand Prix.
Dude, is this like a multiple choice, man?
Dude, is this an easy one?
That's an easy
I know,
one.
right?
So-
Come on,
Hold on. Let's.
How many times?
How many times?
Do we get it right if we come close?
You know what? Since you guys are keeping tally of the points, if you come close by less than 2 years, I'll give it to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that it was a good 16 years. No pressure, Yancy.
27?
What's the answer?
He has only held the Italian Grand Prix once
Oh my God!
in
That-
1980.
That's a trick question.
Right, because this is not the
is San
Italian Grand
Marino.
Prix. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Oh, you are sneaky.
I should get points for being closest.
Damn, by that much.
Hold on, but yeah, what is this? This is not Price is Right.
Closest without being. Well, I was over. So
Well, but how many times did it? How many?
Once.
once. You just
How
said
about
it.
the San Marino Grand Prix?
No, I didn't have that much for that.
Okay.
That was not part of the trivia.
right.
That's not part of my trivia.
Excuse me.
Next question? Question.
So this one might be, you guys probably didn't pay attention to this, but what was so significant about the Emilia Romagna GP, as it was called actually last year? What was so significant about that Grand Prix?
What do you mean so significant?
Like, it served a mark.
I know what it was. That it was the 1000th Grand Prix for Ferrari.
Nope. But I gave you some.
Wait!
It was a number. The number was close. Go ahead, Jens.
That wasn't it? Okay.
That was not it.
Wow. Repeat the question?
What was so significant about the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix? That's how it was called last year. Obviously. So what was so significant about that Grand Prix taking place?
About that Grand Prix taking place. It wasn't because it was Ferrari's 1000 race?
No. It was Ferrari's 1000 at Monza.
Oh.
It happened to hit that time in the calendar. It was when that Monza was Ferrari's 1000th Grand Prix overall.
Okay.
That's the reason why I gave you the applause for that. You were so close with the answer.
Okay, so it is.
Remember, Ferrari's
70th year? What?
That's so dismissive. You just like, get out of here.
Get out of here. You don't know nothing.
It was actually Italy's 100th Grand Prix. That's the reason why when he started with the numbers, like, oh shit, he got it. No, it's
Italy, like, so in the country of Italy, it's hosted now 100 Grand Prix.
Yes.
Dude, how would I have got? Okay, whatever.
But it was part of last year. It was
trivia, though.
They actually pushed that heavily last year.
You sure?
Yeah.
I don't know, bro.
Okay, all right. Next question.
I got another easy one.
Another easy one. What was the first easy one?
Yeah, for real, bro. You need to start giving like multiple choices, bro.
Name the driver that has a corner at Imola named after himself.
After himself?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
In Imola, that should be the Senna turns.
That's not there.
No, Senna's in Brazil.
Oh, in Canada too. Senna
S is also.
Senna turns. The turn 1 and 2.
Yes.
Wait, that's the Wellington.
Oh man, damn it! And I should know this.
You should.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just saw what the answer was.
Are you gonna let?
No, I'm not gonna tell him.
No, I thought you were gonna let him see it because the laptop is probably maybe towards him a little bit.
Tamburello.
No. Wait. Give him the sad. Okay, the sad trombone. It's Villeneuve.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Which turn?
Oh,
I just had it. I just know
which turn.
I didn't. I just got excited for the question.
5 and 6. 5 and 6.
I just saw like that question. Oh man, they're not gonna know this.
That would. Yeah, you're right. Damn it. We should know that. That's because we've only seen a race once.
Wow, come on.
I know Tamburello, but that's
so that's all 3 questions.
I got another one that I thought was like the hard one.
We got a bonus. So do we get a point for this one though?
Yeah, if you get it right.
You gotta hit the little DJ thing for the bonus extra question.
Are you ready? All right, so it's a serious question, by the way. I'm sorry.
Serious. Okay.
No. No.
All right, so in 1994 was the tragic death of Ayrton Senna, at this track. Mm-hmm. Can you name the driver that also passed away in the same weekend during an accident in qualifying?
Ding 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 ding. Roland Ratzenberger.
Yeah.
So
that's a pretty easy question.
What? I thought that would have been hard.
No, that's an easy question. Because
my turn. Roland Ratzenberger.
We need like a bell.
Yeah, so maybe. No, that was good though when you tapped it.
No, but that's a pretty easy question because that is a weekend that if you're a Formula One fan, that you're never gonna forget because unfortunately that weekend in 1994, Rubens Barrichello had a huge crash on a Friday, which was almost deadly.
Yes.
Then you had Roland Ratzenberger, which he was in it was a car. I don't know what team it was, but it was sponsored by MTV, and that was a really nasty crash where crashed so bad that you could actually part of the monocoque came off, so you can see through the car. And he unfortunately passed away. And then Ayrton Senna going through Tamburello. I think it was Tamburello. Where I think it was concluded that it might have been
his corner on lap 7.
Yeah, that his drive shaft broke, so he went straight into the wall, and so it's a memorable weekend, not in a good way, very infamous weekend that a lot of fans will never forget. And obviously, if you guys get a chance to watch the Senna documentary, I think it's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix.
Obviously, a great documentary based on the life of Ayrton Senna and how good he was, and he was in humanitarian, how well respected he was, and how much he was loved in Brazil. And it also tells, obviously, the story of when that fateful day happened. For any F1 fan, that is a must-see.
Yep.
Okay, so race history. Lead us off. The historian.
The historian.
I want to get him one of those like old school wigs.
With the powder white. Yeah.
Those English wigs.
We could probably do an emoji of it. All right, so this track was inaugurated in 1953. The first race was a motorcycle race. The first F1 race held there was in 1963, and it was won by Jim Clark and a Lotus. It became a permanent track in 1980, though. So I guess it's also, it's been shifting back and forth. The most successful driver has been Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
Most successful team here, it's actually two teams, Williams and Ferrari, 8 victories apiece. And then most successful engine manufacturers is a tie also between Ferrari and Renault, 8 victories, followed by Honda with 4.
Does that when Renault was with Williams?
Don't know. I didn't read into that.
Yeah.
But it probably was then.
Probably was then, yeah.
Not all of them though, because I think also in this track was Williams' first win with BMW.
Oh, okay.
So one of those 8 had to be at least BMW. I think it was more than it was.
Nice.
It's a very, obviously we already spoke of. It's a very narrow circuit. We're probably not going to see that many overtakes here, but
it is fast.
Yeah, and we also mentioned earlier that where it was held the tragic death of Ayrton Senna in 1994.
Oh yeah. So just more recent history. Obviously, it came back last year because of the global pandemic that was going on. A lot of holes were created in the calendar, and they brought back obviously Portugal. They brought back Mugello, Turkey, etc. This was one of the tracks that were brought back last year. It was towards the end of the year. As far as what happened, as far as podium, Hamilton was first, Valtteri Bottas second, Daniel Ricciardo third, Daniel Kvyat fourth, Leclerc fifth, and Sergio Perez sixth. I could keep going, but what ended up happening? Actually, I could bring.
Was this the race about the tattoo, or this was the second podium they got?
This was the tattoo.
It was the tattoo. Okay.
Yeah,
that we still haven't gotten yet.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna see if this hopefully works. It's an overlay of the track map. You could see it's a very fast and flowy map. It goes, what is that, counterclockwise, leads into a chicane, and it's just a fast track which benefited Renault last year as a team because they started going in as far as straights. They were like insane last year towards the end of last year, and that's what ended up with Daniel Ricciardo being the man there. As far as predictions, where do we see this thing headed? Knowing that we didn't really get a lot of data just off of the one race.
And I feel like it's been months since Bahrain too as well.
Yeah. It's been a month. So qualifying. Where do we anticipate qualifying laying out?
I think Max takes it again, qualifying. I think Max definitely gets pole this, followed right by Ham, Bottas, Perez. And fifth, I would say, I don't know, it's like a gamble. I'll go with Tsunoda, just because of the hype.
Car looks quick, though.
Yeah. Yeah, she's still thinking.
Hamilton. Verstappen. I think it's 3 weeks between races. You don't think Mercedes is going to figure something out? And they weren't far off from Red Bull, and they still managed to win the race. So Mercedes, Verstappen, and Perez.
I'm going to say one thing, right? I don't have the track map for Bahrain to bring it up, but Red Bull was killing Mercedes in Sector 2 last race at Bahrain. And not just Red Bull, Honda in general, both the AlphaTauris and the Red Bulls, right? Sector 2 is in Bahrain. It's a lot of turns. It's that crazy downhill to uphill. That it's like a dog leg, whatever. I think that this track lends itself more towards higher end, top speed, etc. So I'm going to go back to, I guess, normal, and I'll say it'll be Hamilton and Bottas as 1 and 2, with Verstappen as number 3, because we don't have those areas where I believe that Red Bull will be able to pick up speed or pick up time on the Mercedes.
Okay.
4th, 5th.
4th, 5th qualifying. I think you'll see. The Perez up there. The Perez.
That's his new name.
And then maybe
El Perez.
we'll start seeing where stuff really starts to shake out. As far as I'm so curious what happens, and we had a video on it on YouTube. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel. Subscribe if you've seen a video or two. We had to talk about the midfield and who's really going to be at the top of that midfield. Is it going to be McLaren? Is it going to be Ferrari, who's improved, or is it going to be AlphaTauri? Right. So we saw Ferrari much improved last year. I don't know if their engine power will be able to, even though Bahrain's a power track, this is just straight like guns blazing, etc. So I think we'll see a lot. We'll see either Ricciardo or Lando Norris in that. If I said 4th is Perez, 5th Ricciardo or Norris, with potentially Gasly in the mix.
And you're saying they'll be up there because they have the Mercedes engine?
Because they're a good car in general.
This is the improvement of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Because the car itself, because McLaren's aero package itself is good, and now they have a strong engine, a strong, reliable engine. I'm having trouble because last year in Imola, as far as qualifying, and the McLarens, they were 9th and 10th, right? Not great. Renault 5th with Daniel Ricciardo. So is it that Daniel Ricciardo likes that track? Is it that it's just suited to his style of speed? The Renaults were powerful at the end of last year, and McLaren had a Renault engine. So I hesitate.
These type of tracks tend to favor a Renault engine just because it's Renault. The Renault engine seems to be very good at
The Alpine engine now, I guess.
Well, no, it's still
a Renault engine, I guess, yeah.
But they tend to favor tracks where you're a lot on the throttle.
Yeah.
So it seems, I don't know. I guess their aero's messed up, but it seems like the Renault engine seems to be very good. They just don't have very good reliability. But obviously, that's not the case with the Mercedes engines, which is what we're talking about with McLaren. And it seems like McLaren has a better overall package.
Yes.
And it seems that they also have ace up their sleeve with the diffuser. I don't know if teams are going to be able to bring an upgrade to put those fins in the middle of the diffuser like McLaren did. Andreas Seidel said he was surprised that more teams didn't do that. So we'll see how it works out.
What do you think as far as the podium?
Oh, podium. I think it'll shake out much the same way qualifying will. I think qualifying is going to be super important on this track because there's not a lot of overtaking. So I don't think you're going to get a lot of action at the front. Maybe in the midfield, we're going to get some action because the cars are that much closer together. But it seems to me that Red Bull and Mercedes are just way ahead of the field. And obviously, they're not as ahead as last year, but they are pretty ways ahead of the midfield. The action is going to be in the midfield.
So you're saying your podium trio is going to be Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas?
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing. No. I said Hamilton, Verstappen, and Perez.
Okay.
I think Perez is going to have a better race. If he doesn't have any issues with the car like he did last race.
Ruben, what do you think?
I don't think that Bottas can beat Perez, man. I don't hold Bottas in that high regard. He's a good driver, but I mean the Red Bull seems like it's way better than last year, and I think that Perez is a better driver than Bottas.
Ruben, what do you think?
I think it will be Hamilton will take it, even though I don't think he's going to take pole in qualifying, but Hamilton's going to take it. Follow right closely with Verstappen and Bottas. Perez 4th. I was just earlier I got excited with the qualifying, but I think Ricciardo will be 5th.
Yeah. Last year, Max Verstappen actually didn't finish the race. He spun off with a puncture. I think it'll be Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. For me, I think the real issue is going to be, can Bottas show that he can handle the pressure? That's going to be the story of this season because he's now he's not even fighting for first place anymore. Now he's going to be fighting for second and third, and he's going to be getting a lot of pressure from Perez. So we'll see. I think that's going to be the story of the year going forward. I want to point out that Sergio Perez finished 6th last year in his Racing Point, behind Charles Leclerc and behind Daniel Kvyat and behind Daniel Ricciardo. So I don't know. We'll see. Guys, anything else before we wrap up this episode?
Racing is back.
Yeah, race week.
Race week.
No.
Race week.
I want to see cars on track.
Yes, sir.
I wanna see
Absolutely.
qualifying. I wanna
So-
see the race.
Yeah, I know it's been so long. So let's just wind it down, guys. If you're watching, make sure to, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. Make sure other people can find us. Subscribe to us so that you could be alerted as to when, well, hit the subscribe button so you could find our videos. And then number 2, hit the bell in the corner so that you could be alerted as to when we drop a new video. We are across all the podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeart Radio, TuneIn, and Stitcher. At Jump to Start F1 for our Twitter, and at Jump to Start F1 on Instagram. I hate you guys. It's like I feel like Michael Jordan in Game 7 every time when I go through all of our socials. So I'll say it again: Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Stitcher. At Jump to Start F1 on.
There's an easy solution to that, man.
What drop are you gonna help the applause? Thank you.
Nah, it should have been the other one.
Listen.
If
Guys-
you get it right, you don't gotta worry.
No, because he was flowing so well in the second one. I was getting ready.
You know.
But that made me nervous.
So the next time, just put your finger on the button just in case. So see him just
Guys, enjoy.
fall apart.
It's race week. Let's go.
It's race week.